issues of pregnancies, I may not give exact figures, but as I mentioned it earlier, at the beginning of the second or third day of the examinations, this year we have seen a slight increase compared with last year. We have more of our girls doing their examinations under hardships in hospitals because most of them would be doing them from there because they have just delivered, they have been rushed to hospital, and the number has gone up. That is what I can confirm to you, that compared with 2023, 2024, the numbers are slightly higher. And before, I think it will only be fair that when we shall be concluding this exercise, then we shall be able to give you a detailed report on all issues of hardships, including those who are in hospital because of teenage pregnancies, those who are in hospital for any other cases, and those who are in hospital, or those who are in prisons, because there are a few of them who are taking their examinations also from that particular areas. So at the end of this exercise, towards the end of it, we shall be able to give you the statistics for all cases and of all any other circumstance that may be necessary for you. As for the incident in Nakuru yesterday, I know also yesterday or no, on Friday, I'm told we had one kid who was also involved in an accident. Mainly, I think, a day scholar who was involved in an accident. But the one of yesterday was quite unfortunate, the one of Shiners. And we've been given assurance by our security teams, our investigative arm, that they have done adequate check. They have apprehended the person who is suspected to have been the one who caused the harm and fatally injured the other student. And we would want to leave it at that. We want to leave it to the security teams to proceed from the point that they have reached. But this morning, the candidate will do their exam from wherever they are. And thereafter, we shall conclude the process. But I leave it to our security and the criminal system to deal with that particular situation. And I'm sure they will be taken to court in the course of time, maybe even as early as today, so that these issues are dealt with. The other breakthrough I would want to mention also is that yesterday, one of our biggest scammer who has been conning parents through social media, with a very good work and coordination between our team at the National Examination Council, our cybercrime teams, and DCI, and the total multi-agency team, that the fellow who has been running that particular site was arrested yesterday. And we are sure the fellow will be delivered in court today. And I would want to ask our parents, I would want to ask our teachers, I would not even want to say I will ask our students, because our students never follow and download these things in our social media, because by the time they reach social media, our candidates are already in the examination rooms, because what these cheats do is that they just get access to some of our papers just after we distribute them in the classroom, which means that there are people who work with them within that particular examination environment. And our security teams, I would really want to thank them, because they have been extremely preemptive in these issues. That any case that try to come out, they are able to quickly identify them and neutralize them before they can cause any harm to our examinations. And I would want to thank everybody within the multi-agency team who have been able to make sure that we are able to run a clean examination. And I can say with confidence, to this day, as we start the second week of our critical papers and the big papers, that we have run fairly and quite a clean exam. I can say it compared with other years, so far so good. Our teams, the multi-agency team, is doing a very good work. And it is doing a good work across the spectrum. You remember I mentioned also that this time our kids in some of the places which has been having insecurity issues are doing exams in a very secure environment. So all these put together, we want to believe that our children this time will even give us better results because we have all given them a good environment to do the examinations. Yes.
Maybe you can give us more details.
Let me leave that to the criminal justice system. But the information that I was given last night is that the fellow has been arrested. As to the details of where he was arrested, which court he will be delivered to, that will be dealt with our brothers and sisters in the security sector and the criminal justice system. Yeah.
Mr. P.S., the school, the news is out that parents are worried, students are still trauma. What is your assurance to the parents at home and the students as the exams continue?
On security, I would give to the county commissioner to mention one or two things. But our security teams have done quite a good job. The incident that we had in Shinas on Saturday night was an unfortunate case. And I would want to really thank our teams, the security team, because they were able to quickly swing into action. One is to secure the environment so that the problem does not become spiral. And two is that they were quickly able to apprehend the prime suspect. And that in itself was able to cool down the environment. We would want to assure our parents that we shall continue through the multi-agency team to ensure that our school environments are safe. We also urge all of us, our teachers who are in our schools, to ensure that they improve on surveillance. They work very closely with the students and these kids so that they can be able to gather intelligent information, because these things don't just happen. Some of these things brew up over time. And therefore, as schools, we must improve our intelligent gathering systems so that it will be able to assist in preempting some of these cases. And you know, there are not so many of these kids now in schools because it's only the candidates. So we would want to encourage our teachers that they need to ensure that they contain, make sure that they are able to gather adequate information so that they can instill appropriate discipline in our school environment as we do the examination. So I would want to request, unless there is any other question that is for me before I request, I would want to confirm that we give these kids and everybody else an opportunity to be able to make that assessment. And our doctors will make an assessment. And if in their opinion they think that that candidate cannot sit for examination, that doctor will advise that we don't need to subject the kid to an exam. And if a doctor gives us that advice, then we shall be able not to subject that kid to an exam, but give them an opportunity to take the exam in the next available examination. So we acknowledge and appreciate every kid's situation. And where we are advised by doctors and professionals along that particular line, we shall be able to take their advice and be able to ensure that this kid will be able to take an exam in a situation that they are comfortable to take it. But most of them, in most cases, they would prefer, if they are able to do it, to do the examination. In most of the cases, it is out of their own volition. But where the medical personnel tell us not to do it, then we shall not do it. Thank you, Commissioner. Asanteni sana. Once again, I would want to thank all of us who are here this morning led by our multi-agency team in this region. I would want to thank the regional commissioner, our regional team in the Ministry of Education, the Teacher Service Commission, and the entire multi-agency team that has been able to drive this exercise quite well in this region. I can affirm that from the reports that we have been receiving, from what we share with our colleagues at the Ministry of Interior, we have not had any substantial serious issues that touches on examinations in this region. This region also, we have always had challenges, mainly in the North Rift region, on issues in security, but this time we are very happy with the work that our colleagues at the Ministry of Interior has been able to do, that our children are doing their exam in an environment that is very conducive this year. We have not heard of any challenges. We have delivered our exams in a very normal way this time. We've been working with our colleagues in the Ministry of Defense sometimes to deliver examinations. But this time, the multi-agency team as constituted has been able to handle the examination in the entire region without any problem. So at that front, I would want to most sincerely thank the security team and the entire security system for the good work that we have done, that our children were able and are able this year to do their examination in an environment that is conducive and an environment that is like all other children across the country. And we are sure that given that environment, that we shall be able to get better results from our children from these regions that have had challenges once in a while. On issues examination, I would want to thank all of you. As I've already said, Nakuru, we've not had any problem. I know the major problem was some indiscipline issues yesterday that was reported to us, but I'm informed by the county commissioner that they have been able to adequately deal with the issue, and they have narrowed down on all the issues that they needed to deal with, and that all is being handled by our investigative team and the investigative systems, and therefore it will go to the next level where it will be dealt in a way that it must be dealt. For our center managers, asanteni sana. You know, we are focusing on this year's exam, but we need to acknowledge the good work that you did last year. A number of you are examiners, but the way that you handled your centers last year and the way that you are able to assist us in implementing a new system that we introduced of collecting our examinations twice from the collection center, and that went on very successfully, then we have reason to really thank you for the good work that you did. And again, as this county, I would want to thank you for being truthful to yourselves, being truthful to our profession as teachers. Because, you know, you've been teaching these kids for the last 4 years. And you have confidence that your students have adequately been prepared. And that it is their opportunity now to be able to give out their best. And therefore, there is no need to interfere with them as they give us that best of themselves. You know, I tell my colleagues as I go around the country that we don't have any problem with our children. When it comes to examination malpractices, it's not about the children. It's not about our candidates. The biggest problem is ourselves, adults. Adults are the biggest culprits. They are the biggest challenge. When we are doing all this, we do it because we have missed a step ourselves as adults. Because a kid will not get a telephone if we don't facilitate that telephone. A kid will not be able to get an authorized material in the classroom if it is not facilitated by somebody. And even if our kids had unauthorized materials, they will have unauthorized materials of notes. But for kids to get unauthorized materials in terms of answers, because somebody immediately we open the paper, they have gone somewhere to do the exam, and try to introduce to our children, it's not the children who are culprits. It's not the children who have gone out to try to attempt the answers for questions and sneak them back to the classroom. It is we adults. And therefore we must deal with ourselves so that we give our children an equal opportunity, an opportunity that we were given. I can tell you, if we were not given that opportunity, none of us would be standing here today. I'm saying none, all of us, from my brothers and sisters in the security sector, and whom I would want to most sincerely thank, And the other day when I was in another county, I was telling the county commissioner, we are diverting a very critical human capital from what they would do best in ensuring that each one of us in the country is safe, to come and guard us as we do our duty. That we must get somebody to stand behind us to do that which we have done for the last 4 years. We have taught our children without anybody standing behind us when we are teaching. We have prepared them for the 4 years. And at the end of it all, we cannot trust ourselves to do that final right on our children after 4 years. And again, the mistrust is not on the student. The mistrust is on ourselves. So I really pray that as we move forward, all of us become more responsible, all of us become more trustworthy, and that we give our children an opportunity to give us their full potential. The director was talking about certain marks. I believe our children can, given an opportunity, all children are good. All children in all our schools are all good if we give them an opportunity and a good environment to give us their full potential. So my good brothers and sisters in the profession of teaching, being a teacher myself, I would really want to look forward, and I always say this, I would really want to look forward to that day when we don't come to the container 5 times or 10 times in a week, that we shall trust us enough, and that you can pick your exams on Monday for the whole week, and we believe that they are safe in your custody. And for once this year, when we were doing KCSE this year, we left it to our teachers. Our brothers from the security sector escorted the papers to the school, and in every of our buses, there were only 2 security officers. And their job was to secure the exam between the container and the point of delivery. Thereafter, it was left to the teachers to manage. In the evening, the same officers were escorting the papers to the container to take care of the school, between the school and the container, not to take care of within the examination centers. We look forward to that environment so that we can be able to make it natural. We shall be able to make it natural. So I don't want to say so much. I only want to mention, our good people, that in 1 year's time, we shall be receiving our kids in grade 10, which is our senior school. We have a draft of the guidelines for management of senior school. We have guidelines on the placement of our children to the pathways. And we are all aware we have 3 pathways. We have the creative and sports, we have STEM, and we have the humanities. So this time we shall be placing our children to the pathways. We are not primarily placing our children to schools. Our children will first check to see where they can get their pathway. Previously, what has been the case is that our children would first think about maybe Nakuru girls. But this time our children will think about their pathway. after knowing their pathway and where it is available, is when now they think about the school. So we shall be coming back to you. I know in June we came to you to give us your views on the designs for grade 10. We have received your comments. We are now finalizing on the design so that we can call for instructional materials from the publishers to be able to give us the books that we shall be using in grade 10. We shall, in the beginning of the year, be sharing with yourself the guidelines on placement and the guidelines on the management of senior school so that, again, we can work together. Because next year is our year of preparation. I would also want to assure all our schools who do not have laboratories. We have 1,600 schools who do not have laboratories across the country. That beginning January, we shall be able to have a laboratory in every school so that our children will have an equal opportunity in the area of STEM. So beginning January, we shall be rolling out an exercise of providing each school with one physical lab. We are also going to do 2,000 virtual labs so that we can be able to support our children as they take these pathways. As for grade 9 next year, I know it's not so much of your concern, but it is the concern of all of us as Kenyans, is that we have already distributed enough. We have distributed all instructional materials on a ratio of 1:1. We are at the tail end. We are at almost 80% building 11,000 classrooms that government is building. We are working very closely with our National Assembly members, where government gave a conditional grant of 3.4 billion, and the members of parliament from CDF, they were to match it by another 3.4 billion shillings, so that they have around 6.8 billion. And they will be doing for us another 7,000 classrooms, plus the 11,000 that we are doing, that will be 18,000 classrooms. We are also working with our partners so that come January, in case there will still be any challenges, we are also going to set aside another 2,000 classrooms for any situation that may arise in January, so that we can adequately prepare for our children in January. TSC is at the tail end of recruiting another 20,000 teachers on the contract or internship. They are finalizing on conversion of the 46,000 interns into permanent and pensionable. They are doing an assessment of some of our teachers who are still teaching in our primary schools, so that they can support at the junior school. So I can affirm that as government, we are preparing ourselves adequately to be able to ensure that now this third cycle of competence-based education is adequately concluded. The first cycle having been PP1 and PP2, second cycle being our primary to grade 6, and now our third cycle, which is grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, as we prepare ourselves in 2026 now to go to the fourth round, which is the final round in the basic education cycle. So once again, I would want to thank all of us. And in case of any engagements with the media, I think we open the container. Then thereafter, in case there are any other areas of engagement, then we shall engage ourselves. Asante sana.